Good afternoon, friends. Backyard Garden Pro with you here on a Saturday afternoon. Today we're going to plant some seeds, some of my frost hardy seed here that I got here in my little Jiffy greenhouse kit. I'm going to get these things going here, show you how I do that, my planting, and how we lay everything out. I'm going to plant some of these mammoth beets. Again, these really aren't to be eaten, but I'm going to try it anyway. Got some Japanese giant red mustard. Some kale, which I usually grow from plants, but I'm going to try to use a seed this time. This is Chinese white celery. Brussel sprouts, which are always very good. Not really sure how to pronounce this, but this is kind of like a red cabbage. Some early peas. Some strawberry spinach, and the little berries and the leaves are both edible. And then some bok choy, which is something that I never have grown. Most of these here I have not grown. But anyway, hang around. We're going to get started here. I'm going to show you how to lay this stuff out, get it going here, and get the plants growing. And then hopefully here in 4 to 6 weeks, be ready to transplant these things in the garden. All right, first thing we're going to do here is we've got everything laid out. This is my Jiffy greenhouse kit right here with a 72 expanding peat moss boxes. It came with some plant vitamin and for seedlings. Got all my seeds here. Got a gallon jug here to mix with my fertilizer there when I plant. But you're going to first of all start off here by reading the instructions here. Pretty straightforward. Prepare pellets, and I pretty much do exactly what it says here. Place pellets in a watertight tray and add 1.5 inches of warm water. Drain excess water when pellets are 1.5 inches tall. And then add the seeds, peel back netting and fluff peat. Add 2 to 3 seeds per pellet. Lightly cover with peat. Add dome. Place in a warm location out of direct sunlight. And then germination. Allow plants to germinate, removing the dome after leaves appear. Place in a sunny location. Keep moist. Don't overwater. And then transplant. Once danger of frost is past, harden off and transplant outdoors. Dig holes deep enough to cover top of pellets. In this case here, the seed I'm using are the frost hardy seed, as you can see right here. So I'm going to get these things in the ground as quick as I can, because it'll probably be the 1st of March or so before I can even get this thing going here, by the time the seeds come up and get large enough to plant. But what I did here, again, there's 72 peat moss boxes here. Not sure if you can see here, but I numbered with a Sharpie here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way across here. I have every row numbered, because again, when you plant the seed, when the seedlings come up, sometimes it's pretty hard to tell what each seed is, and it's really difficult sometimes to keep up with what you got. They come with these little stakes here. You can break apart, but it's really difficult. Again, there's not enough. There's only 6 of these things anyway. So what I do is I go to my Microsoft Office, Excel, and what I do here is I lay out a template just the same way as my peat moss boxes here. So as you can see here on row 1, I'm planting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes or little peat moss boxes of bok choy. Then I'm planting the red cabbage. Then I've got the Brussels sprouts here, and I've got it all laid out here. So when these things come up, I can see what's coming up quickly, what's not, what may need a little bit of help. So this is just an idea of something that I do here. Because again, when they come up, typically there's only 2 leaves, and most of these leaves, when they're a lot of these type of green vegetables, look very similar. But it just helps me keep up with it, so that I know what I've got, and then when I get ready to plant, I know exactly what I've got. So what I'm going to do here, first thing here is the plant vitamin for seedling. It says here directions: pour packet into 1 gallon of water. Got my gallon jug, going to get some water here, and place the Jiffy pellets of the seed starting mix into tray, which I've got these already in the trays here. And this right here, just so you can see, these are pretty small little pellets. That's what they are here. But when you add water, they really hydrate and swell up nice. And then place pellets into starting tray. Wet completely with Super Thrive mixture. Plant seeds as directed. So again, first step here, as on the instructions, was to add a 1.5 inches of warm water. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to mix my water up here, and I'll be right back. All right, got my gallon jug here of water with my fertilizer here. I'm just going to add this to the tray here. It says add about 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to spread it across the top of these little pellets. Just kind of wetting them down really well there. I'm going to take this off this stand just for a second here. Let you see. Look here. You can see these things starting to bubble a little bit. That's the moisture. Oops, so I can get the video there. Here we go. I'm going to let them kind of soak that water in first, and then just add a little bit more as they swell. All right, I'm starting the video back up here. Not sure if you can hear or not, but these things are bubbling with the peat moss expanding. You can see here how much they've actually expanded. Bring this up here so you can see. Look at that. Quite impressive, huh? So, going to add some more water here to them. Make sure they're totally hydrated. Just going to slowly add some water. Don't want to really disturb these boxes too much. These over here are totally dried out, looks like, so add some more to those. Make sure they're totally hydrated. All right, we'll just let these things grow here. Again, that's pretty neat just to watch. See if I can raise it up here so you can see without spilling it all in the kitchen. Pretty cool. We've got one here on the end, right in the middle, that's he's winning the race there as far as expanding, so he's the winner so far. Pretty cool stuff. Even gardening in little peat moss boxes or pellets is fun. All right, I'm going to pause here just for a second and let these things continue to expand. It's been about 5 minutes now, and look at these peat moss pellets. Look how they've swollen up there and ready to get some seed here. But what I did, I left some water in the bottom here because I just want to make sure they're totally and completely hydrated. So what I'm going to do is start putting my seed in, and then when I finish my seed, if there's any water left in there, I will drain that out to start with, and then I'll check these things, of course, every day or several times during the day, and when the top of the box, the peat moss, starts looking like it's drying out, I'll add a little bit of water using a sprinkler type device. I'll show you that later on. We're going to start out here again. My little display here has me starting out with bok choy. So not even really sure what these seeds look like. So I'm going to open them up here and let's see. Wow, super small seed. What I've got here is a sauce. I'm going to pour my seed on there. Look at that. These things are about like turnip seed. So that's tons and tons of seed here. So I don't need all of these. But what I've got, since they're so small, I have got a pair of tweezers somewhere right here. Some handy dandy tweezers so I can actually pick up 1 or 2 seeds and put them in the boxes. So what I've got on my sheet here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are going to be my bok choy. So I want to get a few seed here, and I'm just going to use my my tweezers. The first thing I'm going to do here is check my boxes out here. Make sure I've got some of these have a little. Well, they all have a plastic covering on them, but I want to peel this back a little bit so I can get to the peat moss. You see here, the first one here is okay. It's already opened up, but this second one here is not. So I need to peel this back to expose the moss so I can put the seed in there. I think these are good. That's good. That's good. That's good. This one here is good too. We're just going to pull these open a little bit just to make sure there's not any problems. Just going to peel the little sleeve back just a hair, just to make sure we can get good germination and the roots have plenty of room to expand. Okay, so that's the 9 there. All right. So look at there, even here in the kitchen, getting a little dirt on my hands. That's pretty cool. So let's start here. I've got some seed in my tray, and again, I really want to put. What I'm going to do is just. I'm not sure if you can see here, but I'm grabbing these little seed here are super small. So if I grab here, I've got 2. Whoop! Well, I've got 3 seed right here, so what I'm going to do is just drop these 3 seed here and maybe put just a couple more just to make sure there's 2 more. What I did to start with is I just put them on the top of the surface of the peat moss box. I can see these seed, and what I'm going to do is use this little device here, which is actually the stakes for naming your plants. I'm going to push the seed in with these with a point here. Just kind of push them down into the peat moss box. Oh, just probably a 1/4 inch or so, and then pull the top back over that. Kind of press it down with my hand, and that's kind of it. So again, these things here, as small as a seed are, we don't want to plant very deep. Get a few more here. That's probably 4 seed right there. What I'm going to do is just take these seed and just grab some, at least make sure I've got at least 3 or 4, and there's 3, and put those on top. I'm just going to basically just put them on top of the each peat moss pellet to start with. There's 3. I think what I'll do is come back, and because I'm picking up about 3, it looks like, with these tweezers. So that's 6. There's 7, 8, 9. Need a few more in that one. So I'm going to come back here and just grab a few more extras just to make sure I've got plenty of seed. Because what I'll do is, once these things start coming up, you want to make sure you have enough seed to help push through the peat moss, and when they start growing, you want to basically prune those back or trim them back so you only really have. What I do is, if I have 4 or 5 seed coming up, I pull that back to 2, and then when the leaves really start growing, then I trim that back or pull up the other 2, so I only have 1 seedling. But like I said, what I'm going to do here is just push these seed down in the peat moss here, like I'm doing right here, and then just lightly cover that up with my finger and tap it down. I can see all these seed here, so just push them in, then tap it down. What you also can do is make a little hole. I'll do that for larger seed in the peat moss box to start with, and then put your seed in the hole and then cover that up. But with these seed being so small, these things here are, oh my God, they're 1/10 of the size of a BB. So they're easier just to put on the top of the surface and just push down, and then just roll the top back down on it. Just kind of push that in and pull it down. So I'm going to finish these up here, and then we'll get started on the next group of seed here. That's 7. I'm sorry, that's 8. Get these seed all the way in here, and then that's my 9th one there. So I want to look at it and see if I see any seeds still floating around on the top. If I do, push those seed down in the ground a little bit, because they can't really do well if they aren't in the soil. Those look good. Kind of turn it over a little bit here. What you can do is pull over some from the side to just kind of top it off there to make sure they've got a few more there. But anyway, you see I've got, I'm going to stick this right here. Baker sent me 2 packs of these seed, and I've got 9 planted, and I have, God, I've got enough here to plant hundreds. But anyway, that's the bok choy here. I'm going to pause for a second and get this cleaned up here, and then start on the next one. Okay, I've got all the bok choy planted here in the first 9 pods. What I'm going to do now is plant this radicchio, the red cabbage. I'm going to look at these seed here. And just to note here, you know, it does say here plant about 1/4 inch deep. So these are small seeds. Really, you just want them barely under the ground, because or under the peat moss here. 1/4 inch is not very deep. And what I normally do is these very small seed where you end up not using the whole pack, I tear my packet from the bottom. That way there, when I roll it up, I can still see the top of the packet, which has the name on there. So if you tear across the top and then you roll it down to seal your extra seed, you can't really see what the name is. So let's see what these seed here look like. I'm going to kind of tap it a little bit to get those seed down. And we'll just tear it all the way across. Wow. These are super small seed also. So what I'm going to do is just put some of these in my hand. Not even sure if you can see these things right here. but these look more like it looks like grass seed, actually, something like that. It's that small. So again, what I'm going to do here is just take my tweezers, and again, I've got my first 9 here already planted, and I pulled my the little sleeve back on all of these pods here, so I've got everything exposed. Just going to grab some of the seed here, making sure I have at least 3, and just put them down on the top. You can see the seed there, and then put a few more here on the second one. And I'm going to have plenty. It's really hard, as small as these things are here, just to measure out 3 or 4, but do the best you can. So put just kind of spread them out on the top. I think that's the best approach here, and then come back after I get all. Again, I'm putting 9 down here also, 9 pellets. Oh, got some extra seed went off there, but that's okay. Okay, so you should be able to see these seed here. Gonna put a few extra ones in here just to make sure. Well, 1 packet of seed here you could plant. If all these seed came up and you could actually grow them, would be a ton, literally thousands of little cabbage here. So I'm going to take these extra seed here that I have. Already got my 9 planted. Going to put these back in here, and then roll this bottom up. And what I'll do is come back and either get a rubber band or a clothespin and throw those over there. But I've got my bok choy over here that I already planted, and I've got that radishes here. So you can see on the screen there are all these little seed. And then I'm going to take my little tip here that I've got and work these seed in like I was doing before. Just kind of push them down one at a time, just like that. I'm going to push them back, push them all in, and then come back and kind of tap them a little bit to show you what I'm talking about here. If these two here, the seed are down, but when I'm looking at it, you may not can see it on the screen, but there's a small hole. So what I want to do here is kind of just cover that back up and just make sure there's some moss or soil on top of the top there. We're just going to go through and push all these seed down, just like this. Just push them in. Again, we want to plant them about 1/4 of an inch deep, so that's not very deep. These seed here kind of got spread out, but that's not bad either. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, going to get the rest of these spread out, pushed down in the ground and covered up, and we'll be back. Okay, we've got the red cabbage planted here, and again, one reason you want to have a cheat sheet like this right here is because when I'm looking at this, my box of seed here, it's like, where did I plant? Which ones have been planted and which ones have not? So I know at least, these first 3 here, rows have been planted completely. So I'm going to start with my Brussel sprouts on row number 4. You know what? I see one seed sticking up here. Better get him and get him over there. He's in the wrong spot. Get him pushed down. These seeds are so small. When you're used to working with watermelon seed and cucumber seed and larger seed, these are kind of tricky to work with, but they're still fun. All right, so next we've got Brussels sprouts. So let's take a look at the Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts says plant 1/4 to an inch deep, so about the same here. So let's turn the packet over, see what the seed look like. Oop. All right. Again, these seed look just like the bok choy seed. Get a few here. If you look here at the seed, can you see that? Really, really small seeds. So all these seeds look alike, so it's very important to keep these things straight. But again, looking at my cheat sheet, I've got bok choy here. I've got my red cabbage here. So row 4, I'm starting with my Brussels sprouts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm going to do, again, just the same thing. Pick up some of these seed. Boy, they're hard to pick up. I need a different approach here. See if I can just pick up some by hand. That may work too. Just kind of dribble them down. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. May get a few extra, but that's okay. I've got plenty of the seed here. So that's 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. All right, let's see. Need a few extra seed just for safety. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9, and I still have this many seed left over out of the ones that I had. So again, if you look at this packet here, I'm not sure if you can see down in here, but there's literally hundreds and hundreds of seed. So anyway, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to push these seed down in the moss here, and then lightly tap them and cover them up. So I'm going to do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, we got the Brussel sprouts planted and covered up. Next, let's take a look at this, the Chinese white celery. And based on the way this packet feels, these seed here are going to be super, super small. So I'm going to tap it a little bit here on the table to get the seed down to the bottom so I don't lose any. Just tear it across the top. Let's see what we've got. Wow, wow. This is amazing. This is the smallest seed, wow, that I have ever in my life planted, truly. Look at this. It's going to be really, really fun. So what I'm going to do is, again, the same thing. I'm going to pick them up here. I can't even see 3 or 4 seed. So I'm going to put these on the top here. Do the best I can to do that. They're so small, they're already going down into the peat moss there. But can you, not sure if you can see the little seed there laying on the top. We put a couple more in there just for security. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if you look real close, you can see the seed right there and here and here. So that's 3. So I've got this entire row here to put seed on too. So I'm going to do the same thing, put seed out on these, and then push them down like I've been doing here. I'll be right back. Okay, we've got the super, super small celery seed in the ground now. Now we've got kale coming up here. And again, if you look at my sheet here, kale is row 7 and half of row 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Start right here with my kale. I'm going to use one of these little sticks here for a marker so I can know where to start. Let's see what these kale seeds look like here. I'm going to tap them down a little bit. Well, the kale seed look about like the other seed, just small round seed here if you look real close. See that? It looks about like the Brussel sprouts and also like the bok choy. So again, the same process here. I'm going to do this by hand, I believe works just as well, but I'm going to remove my marker here so I know which one to start with. We're going to get, I can see the seed dropping in there, put about 4 seed just to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we get a few more, that's okay too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just spread them out. And again, I'm doing 9 pellets here, so that's 6. This is 7, 8, and then 9. And then I've got this many seed left over. So lots and lots of seed here. So put those back in here. I'm going to fold it over. And take a handy dandy clothespin. Close them up here and put it in the tray. So I'm going to push these seed in like I've been doing here, and just not sure if you can see that. Yeah, you can see those seeds. Yeah, just pushing them down in there pretty good. About 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. Just get them mixed in really good. Normally when I plant seed like this in a garden, like mustard seed or turnips, I just spread them on the top of the ground and then use a garden rake and just put it across the seed. And that gets them down in the soil enough that they can come up and do pretty well. So anyway, we're going to finish these things off here and I'll be right back. All right, we got the kale planted. Next on our list is a mustard. So we're going to start in row 8 and be row 8 and 9. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be the first one for my mustard seed here. And I know what mustard seed look like, but these are a Japanese giant red mustard. So let's see if the seed look any different. I'm betting they probably don't. I'm going to tap it really good here to make sure the seed are all down. Let's see what we get. Yep, same kind of seed here. Probably maybe even a little smaller. But these are the the giant red mustard seed, are super tiny. I know that in the Bible there it talks about the mustard seed growing into a tree being one of the smallest seeds, you know, multiplying and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm going to start right here and going to again put about 3 or 4 seed down here. One. It's hard to drop these things exactly where I want them to go. But that's okay. More is better than not enough. Because again, you can't expect every one of these seed to germinate and come up. So again, normally if I'm planting out in the garden like peas or something or corn, I'll put 3 or 4 kernels of corn in the hole just to make sure. And then if they all have to come up, I can thin those out. Same thing with this right here. If they all come up, you can thin them out. But as small as these seed are, odds of all of them coming up and germinating is probably pretty slim. All these seed left over. I'll have enough for maybe a fall crop here. All right, so let's get these things here pushed down and in the ground. For the sake of time here, I'll do that. Take a pause here and get all those set up too, okay? Okay, getting close to the end here. I'm going to pull this tray back a little bit here, but next I've got these mammoth red mango beets. And guess what? I can fill the seed in here and they are a larger seed. That's going to be something different to work with here. So let's tear these seed open, see what we have. You know what? I feel some seed right here. Yep. So these seed here are a very, wow, coarse looking seed. Looks like something has been dehydrated, but that's pretty cool looking. See that? So what I'm going to do with these, since these are larger seed and these start on row 10, which is right here, I'm going to make some small holes in my moss. If you can see that, I'll let you look here. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got a small hole here. These seed here are going to be large enough to pick up. So I'm going to actually put 3 in there. You can see how large these seed are compared to the others. Look at that. So what I'm going to do with those there is take them and put them in this hole and just push them down a little bit, like this. Get them covered up. And then pull the moss back on top of it like this. So I'm going to do that for all of these here. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, I've got the giant beets seed here. Just wanted to kind of let you see the difference here. Look at the difference in the size of these seed here. So what I'm doing here, again, I made a hole here and just kind of pushing these things down with my finger, a little bit deeper. These beets here said to plant about a ½ inch down. So kind of pushing them down a little bit here. And you're going to come back and just kind of cap that off, kind of pinch the peat moss off and push it down. Kind of roll that peat moss back on top of it, like such. Pull that over on it there, mash it down. This reminds me of the old days when kids played in sand. I'm not sure if they do that now, but as an adult here at 50 plus years old, playing in the sand still. So anyway, we've got the knock that off here. Got the giant mammoth red mango beets planted. And next is a strawberry spinach. And let's see what we got here. I'm betting this is a super small seed also. What do we have here? Wow. Wow, this is even smaller than the others. Not even sure if we can see these. Look at this. I think my best bet here is to make a small hole in these remaining 9 pellets and just slightly pour these in, because there's no way to pull out 3 seed. So I'm just going to try to do that. So what I'm going to do here is pull this around here. Use my plant marker stakes here to make a little hole. Kind of don't need a very deep hole because these seeds are very, very small. Just kind of disrupt the surface here a little bit. Basically making a little tray there, a little slot for them to go in. And then what I'm going to do here is just slowly try to pour some of these small seed in here. You can't see these on the screen, I know. There's just tons of them in here. So it kind of gives you the never have to try to collect seed for anything like this, but it's makes you appreciate the work that goes into that. So there we go, got the seed in, although you can't see them, and I hardly couldn't see them either. Clothespin those up, take and just kind of close this up. So we've got a little bit of soil on top, or peat moss on top of it, kind of pinch it together. The main thing here, is to make sure it's nice and damp, and then to make sure you've got the seed. Again, most of these seed here are 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch deep. So that's pretty much it. Now, what I'm looking for here in my tray, I can look and see on the bottom here, I don't see any standing water, so I know that these pods soaked up all the water. So what I'm going to do is get some water here, and I'm going to pour just a little bit more in here, because I want to make sure they are super saturated to start with. So we're going to just pour along the edge here, a little spread. And what I can do then, put some on this edge right here. And then just work this tray up a little bit and down a little bit to get this water spread out. I can see it moving along there. I think I'll add a little bit more here in the center, just to make sure I've got enough. Because it's very important as these seeds are first starting to germinate that there's plenty of moisture. A little bit on this side here. There we go. And then kind of just wiggle them a little bit back and forth, see what you look like. If there's just a little standing water, you're probably okay. I think that's good. Just looking at all the top here, kind of reviewing these things visually to see if I see any seeds standing up that I maybe missed. I don't see anything right here. Everything looks good. Again, I've got the little plastic, or not plastic, but the sleeve here that held the pellets together. I've got those pulled apart. Everything looks good. So the next thing here is to put the top on. I've got my handy dandy cheat sheet here, what I've got planted. And I've got those numbered here. I think that's a really, really cool way to keep up with everything. I'm going to put the top on. Like such. And we're done. I'm going to find I've got a spot over here by the house, by a window, a little table. I'm going to put it close to the window. Now what I'll do if it gets below freezing, or in the 20s or something like that, I'm going to move it away from the window. But I want it to get a little bit of sun, because I want this to get really warm. I don't use a plant heating blanket or anything. Some people do, but I've had good luck here just using it. Something you got to monitor daily. But because eventually when it starts warming up, sometimes you'll see a little condensation form on the inside. You may have to kind of crack the top or something, but you don't want it to get too hot. But that's it. Hope you enjoy this, and I'll catch up with you. We'll check these things out here daily and see how they look. Catch you next time.